what's up? This is Gary from Raz Rentals, and I know what you're probably thinking. 3 Raz Rentals reviews in a weekend? That's insane. Gary can't even get out 3 Raz Rentals reviews in 3 months, which is sad but true. But no, because of Martin Luther King Day and the way my drop days lined up, I had a 4-day weekend. And I didn't have any art projects that were due anytime soon. So I had a lot of extra time to talk about toys. And that's what I'm going to do in this video. Now, this video is going to be a little shorter than my usual review. This one is just mostly just a comparison from the original guy to the new guy. Just a slight review and, just a chat, I guess. Not necessarily a deep dive like my cartoon videos or movie videos. Now, I should begin this by saying, look, if you're super excited about this guy, I'm not trying to talk you out of it. I'm not trying to tell you that you should dislike this guy. I'm going to explain why I don't like this guy so much and think that, he's nowhere near as cool as the original Giant from 1989. So, don't take it personal. This is all just my opinion. So, about a week ago, Ninja Turtle Facebook groups were exploding with news from Playmates. Playmates released some news that they were releasing this Ninja Elite series, this brand new series that's using the same toys they've released 100 times before. And not only that, but within like a week, they started showing up in Target, as well as reissues of these giant-sized Ninja Turtles, and also the Storage Shell Ninja Turtles. I actually recommend the Storage Shell Ninja Turtles as a decent substitute, if you don't have the originals, but obviously you can't beat the originals. But for $11.99, this is a pretty good deal to pick up these guys. Now, you may be asking yourself, well, why is Gary complaining about the Ninja Elite series if those are reissues of Playmates toys that they've released 100 times before, but he's recommending the Storage Shell Ninja Turtles? Well, that's simple. The Storage Shell Ninja Turtles are awesome toys. The original molds of those are great and appealing, and these Ninja Elite figures are not. they just aren't. Now, when it comes to these giant-sized Ninja Turtles, I have thought these guys have been weird-looking from the get-go, but I keep seeing posts of people like running out to Targets, being super excited to find them. I understand that, being excited about finding some old Ninja Turtle toys that you haven't had in a long time. But I mean, you look at that guy, and I don't know, there's something weird about him. Like, look at his face. Like, you have this completely solid white grin. Like, it just contrasts so much with the rest of his body that every time I would see pictures that people were posting, I just thought that they were very strange. But the white teeth, are just the beginning. Now, if you're wondering, well, why the hell did you buy Leonardo, Gary? Well, that's because at first I found Donatello and I bought him. And I thought, until I get an original Donatello, because all I have is Leonardo and Raphael from my childhood, until I get myself a nice beat-up Donatello to match my beat-up Leo and Raph, I thought this would be a decent substitute. But once I saw how he didn't match the other guys because he's small compared to them, I've decided that I'm going to return him. I'm going to return him, and I got Leonardo because I figured if I was going to compare any one of these brand new reissues of the Giant figures, I would take the hit and compare the brand new Leonardo to the old Leonardo. Now, obviously, my Leonardo is not complete. I don't have the sword anymore. I don't have the belt. But I'm going to use pictures from TMNTtoys.com to, just show what I'm talking about, right? I always recommend that site. You should check it out if you've never been there. So, let's get on with the review here. The packaging here, is nice. I can't complain about that. I love the original card art of the 4 guys here. I've always loved that. It's always great to see that when they reuse those old pictures. They don't look like they are, converted to high definition images or vector images or anything like that. They look like they are scans, clean scans of the original cards, which is great, As much as you can reproduce the original stuff, I say the better. Now, the original giant-sized Ninja Turtles came in different boxes. I mean, I don't really have an affinity for those original boxes, so I think the packaging here is fine. The bricks match the you know, the classic 1988 through, I don't know, 92. When did they change the cards? It matches those cards perfectly, you know. So I think it'll match the rest of your collection just fine. But I mean, look at that right up there. Original 1989 figures. Not bloody likely. All right. On the back here, all it shows is the Ninja Turtle origin and also the 4 guys in this giant size series. Now, you may have noticed something about these guys. And that's, they all have the same heads. They all have the Raphael head. Where's my Raphael? Bam. There you go. There is Raph. And yeah, I know Leo and Raph here are pretty beat up, but, you know, we went through a lot together back in the hardcore streets of Nanticoke, Pennsylvania. Mikey didn't even make it. But yeah, this that open mouth, they just used the Raphael head. They probably just used the same... I mean, they all had the same bodies to begin with, which is no big deal. But, I mean, you have to give the Ninja Turtles the correct expressions. I mean, it's just like the original action figures. You know, they all had their own special mouths. I actually painted these like blue marks on him with a marker to appear like black and blue marks. All right, so now it's time to... open this guy up and take a closer look at him next to the original Leonardo. So here he is, free from the package and ready to take a verbal beating. The original Ninja Turtles, Giant Ninja Turtles, were awesome, you know? Like, I love them. Obviously, a lot of people have some affinity for them. You know, they probably had a lot of good times playing with them back in the day. Which is why everybody's so excited that Playmates decided to release these brand new ones. But, you know, the original ones here, they were made out of a soft vinyl or I don't know, like a rubber or something like that. And they're hollow, you know, they're rotocast and they are seamless. All the details are nice and sharp on the finger there. Like, I don't know, all those little wrinkles and everything like that are nice and crisp. The muscles in the legs, the definition is all there. It looks nice. I mean, the veins are popping right out of the bicep there and the forearms. You know, you can see everything really well. You know what I used to do as a kid? I would pull their heads off, and then I would fill their bodies with water and throw them around. Now, I don't pull their heads off anymore because obviously this guy is old, and I don't want that to rip the piece that goes into the neck. In fact, that's why Mikey didn't make it. That part broke off and his head was never able to stay on his body. Now, this new one is made out of like a hard plastic. Like, he is really hard. I can't tell if the pieces are... I don't think they're hollow, but it's hard to tell because I can't squeeze any of the body parts. But obviously, you can see the seams are very heavy going through the arm, and also the leg here, down the thigh, down the shoulders. The heads... I bet the heads are still rotocast and hollow. Those look different from the rest of the body, and they also kind of feel a little different. As you can see here, his shell is actually made of separate pieces put together, and it's a hard plastic. Now, the original giant-sized Ninja Turtles, they had cloth belts that were wrapped around their body, and you could easily take them off. Now, this guy, his belt is hard, and instead of this being like a nice, clean, with no hole shell, there's actually holes in here so that the belt can plug into the body. That's why it's sitting so tight and staying in place so well. It is all plugged in there. So unfortunately, if you wanted to buy these Giant Ninja Turtles because you wanted to replace your original belts, you will not be able to do that. I think sometimes the reissues can be used for that purpose, and that works out well. You know, like if you have the original 1988 Ninja Turtles and you didn't want to spend the money to buy the original accessories on eBay, you could have went and picked up the reissue from 2021 and, you know, easily replace them. But here, you cannot do that because he's built very different than he used to be. Other than this guy being made of completely different material and looking like a shriveled up version of this guy. The other thing that like I always notice with these brand new reissues from the past, I don't know, 3 years, is the colors of the bodies have changed. Now I've been wondering, why is that? Like, does this original color dye just not exist for the original Ninja Turtles? Is there a shortage, or is there just like incompetence? Like they're like, this is close enough to this, but I mean, this is very, very dark. Maybe Nickelodeon told them to change the colors and make them look this dark. I have no idea. I mean, they did make a point to change the color of the Ninja Turtle logo on everything. Now it's more of like a neon green instead of that, like I don't know. There was more yellow in it before. Here you can see the backs of them next to each other. What's funny is the original giant-sized Ninja Turtles all have like the initial of their names on the backs of their heads. Despite this guy being made of a harder plastic, I feel like his details are not as sharp as the original one. Like, the details on this guy are extremely sharp, like especially around the vein here and in the hands. Like everything on this solid plastic Leonardo, they are softer. I mean, even with the biceps, like the veins are almost lost there. Like they're very flat compared to here, where you have this nice deep line around the vein. Paint wise, the paint is actually pretty clean on this guy. It doesn't look too bad. I mean, because all that's painted is just the bandanas. The blue, it's a little darker than the original blue, but it's still fine. Now some people were asking about, like, why didn't they paint around the the edges of the mask, like they're just a skin color. Now that is actually how the original giant-sized Ninja Turtles were painted. They didn't fill that in. Where's Raph? Yeah, you see Raph here, it wasn't painted to the, completely red in the past. But I mean, just look at the teeth. Like, that to me is a huge deal. Let me sit this guy down here. Like, just not having the teeth, like, segmented is just, I don't know, it's way too noticeable. It's way too jarring. I don't know. It just looks so much better having the lines around the teeth to separate them. I don't know. Him having Raph's head is just like playing tricks with my mind or something. It's just like, I know that head does not belong on this body. Like, Leo needs this face. He kind of looks like he's like gritting his teeth and going, "Eeh, I hope no one notices I'm Raph in disguise." Now, you do get a sword, which is nice. I really liked these weapons back in the day because they were, when I was a little kid, back when I was like 5, these weapons were like, hand-sized for me. So I would run around swinging the sword around. I remember Mikey's nunchucks I had forever. Now, if you did want to buy the giant-sized Leonardo here and give the sword to your original one, if you don't have that, you can do that, but I guess that must be a little smaller too, because it is pretty loose in his hands. I probably should mention that these brand new ones were $24.99 a piece, which is, I mean, that's still a pretty good deal. Like if you were wanting to buy these for your kids or something. I think the giant-sized Ninja Turtles, even beaten up ones, can be around like $50 shipped to your house. With articulation, he still has all the same points of articulation. You can rotate the head around. The shoulders have a swivel. There's this cut here in the elbow. The legs swivel at the hip there. And there's also a swivel here down at the knees. So, that's all good, I guess. So, in conclusion, I just think this guy, he's just way too smart. Like, this shouldn't be branded as like, oh, he's just like your original 1989 figure, because obviously he's very different. Like, I would have recommended picking these guys up if they still had the cloth belts and they were still the same size. Even if he was made of the hard plastic and everything like that, and even if he did have the same head, I still would have recommended that if, like, the belt and maybe the sword was the bigger sized sword, that you could take that stuff and put it on your original guy to make him more complete. But I don't know. I don't recommend them. I feel like these are just a cheap cash grab, you know, especially since they did throw Raph's head on every single Ninja Turtle. And I don't mean for this review to, you know, rain on your parade if you're, you know, super excited about getting these guys. I'm just, you know, I'm being honest here, you know. I got to be honest. Otherwise, people won't take me serious. If I came on here and was just like, every single thing the Playmates and NECA and Super 7 does is just magnificent and amazing, you know, people call me a shill, you know. Obviously, if something is good, I will call it out, such as I thought the Sword Shell Leonardo was a good attempt. I recommended that, but this guy, I don't recommend them, even if they are $25. I don't know. Like, the biggest thing for me is the heads. You know, I could even live with them shrinking the bodies down to this size, and you know, collecting these just to have a nice set of Ninja Turtles. But since they all have the same exact heads and the same expressions, I don't know. To me, that's pointless. So that's all I gotta say. Just a short review compared to my 4-hour-long ones. Have a good one, and talk to you later. And if you think I'm like totally off base here and you're perfectly fine with it, you know, let me know. I mean, I'm not going to argue with you. To each their own.